A few months ago, I came to the US to investigate R. Kelly.
You have like a few protesters here, and they're literally just reeling off allegation of what R. Kelly has done.
He had her crawl on the floor towards me, and he said, "This is my fucking pet."
Oh my God.
Yes.
After our film broadcast, news broke of people leaving his inner circle. And celebrities began to speak out against the king of R&B. When Spotify dropped him from the playlists, it seemed like things were changing. Now I'm back to speak to the people who believe they know the real R. Kelly.
Are you suggesting he's a pedophile?
Yes, I am. Definitely.
And who think time should finally be up for America's most controversial music icon.
Once these girls come out, everything is gonna come out. Everything.
Tell me about, the first sexual interaction you had with him.
I was asleep and I got a phone call and looked at my phone. It was 6 in the morning and he was like, "I'm coming upstairs." And he comes and he's like pounding on the door as hard as he can. And he just comes in and he orders me to take off my clothes. He turns on the TV and he starts getting undressed from, bottoms down. And he's like, "I said, take off your clothes." So at that point, I'm just really looking at him crazy. And he's like, "I want you to come rub on Daddy." And I'm thinking, he wants me to massage his shoulders. So I go over and I start rubbing his shoulders and he takes my wrist and he slaps it on his penis. And he's like, "No, here." I wasted no time. I was like, let me just get it off my chest right now. And I tell him, I'm not really ready for sex. Sex is not something, I just do with somebody I'm engaging with for the first time. And he takes his hand and he boots me over the bed and he begins to stick his finger inside of me. And immediately, it hurts. So I jerk back and I tell him it hurts. Mind you, he doesn't say anything. And I just turn back around, I'm just hoping, this is gonna be done with soon. When he penetrates me again, this time I jerk even harder because it hurts. And he just kept going. And he's, saying really nasty things. He's saying, "Oh my God, young type, P-U-S-S-Y, I love it." And he's calling me his little doll. Just, talking really sexual. It just made me, feel gross, feel really uncomfortable. He starts slapping my butt and he's like, "Tell Daddy you like it." And I respond then, and that's when he finally stops.
Faith Rogers is 20 years old. Last year, she began a relationship with R. Kelly, but it was only after it ended that she learned he'd given her an STD.
When I found out I had herpes, I was devastated. I was embarrassed. It's scary to think about when you have a STD that's not curable and you think about things, like dating and how people will perceive you, and there's a stigma with it, and sorry.
It's okay.
I try to ignore it sometimes, but that's just the reality of it. And it sucks, but you try to be strong about it, but it does get hard sometimes.
I think you're being pretty strong about it.
I think I'm being as strong as I can about it.
Why have you decided to go public?
This man is going around and transmitting STDs to people. Nobody's telling that story, and if I knew that, I probably wouldn't even got involved with him. That's a big deal. That's something you just don't skip over. And so I definitely feel like, if not me, then who?
My daughter is being held against her will.
It was Tim and Jonjolyn Savage, who've been at the centre of the campaign against R. Kelly, who warned Faith about getting a blood test.
I had been in contact with the Savages, and Mr. Savage, he was like, "I just want to let you know R. Kelly has an STD." So I went back and I got a blood test, and it came back positive.
The Savages believe their daughter Joycelyn is being held against her will by R. Kelly.
Please help me welcome Joycelyn's parents, Tim and Jonjolyn Savage. Welcome to you both.
For the last year,
Thank you.
They've been spearheading the campaign against him, claiming he's running a sex cult.
Your daughter is still with him. Why are you concerned?
Joycelyn is in a point of a situation of her life where she's being controlled.
What we're going through now is more severely than what I would have ever imagined.
People need to know that this man is a predator.
I've come to Atlanta to see the Savages. With media scrutiny so intense, they've asked me to meet them at a friend's house in the suburbs.
Nice to see you, man. Very nice to see you. How you doing?
Fine.
How's your day?
Hectic.
Busy day.
Busy.
A lot of things.
When you first came into contact with R. Kelly, so that was, you were trying to get help Joycelyn's career.
We just needed him far as contacts to put her with a certain label. That was it. That's the only reason why R. Kelly was involved. And then at some point, we saw that R. Kelly had sexual relationships with my daughter. We called the whole music thing off.
R. Kelly released some form of a statement to TMZ, and this is what you're talking about, where he says that you're just after money, and he says you kind of have like a personal vendetta against him, and that's why you're pursuing all of this.
He wants to put it back on me. I would take the blame. I don't want no money from you. What I want is my daughter. I made that clear, Ben. I want my daughter, and I want these girls come home. War is always at a peace. You some form of fashion, you gotta come to a peace. And I would come to a peace if he let these girls go, but he won't do it. He won't do it because he knows what's gonna happen once these girls get released. Once these girls come out, everything is gonna come out. Everything.
One person who's found the last year particularly tough is Joycelyn's mum, Jonjolyn.
Yes.
Jonjolyn.
Yeah. She's not feeling well because of what's going on.
Really, so that's pure, just kind of stress.
She's just been stressed out because of what's going on with her daughter. Johnson.
I gave her some towels.
Okay. I'll get no word. You all right? Yeah, I understand.
I feel slightly guilty.
No, it's all right. It's what my family go through. It's hard on us. People don't know the half of what we go through.
Hey, Jonjolyn.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, are you feeling any better?
Feel a lot better.
What? How come you felt so sick?
It's anxiety. I have issues with anxiety. I've been having issues with the last year with anxiety when I have to talk about what's been going on.
What is it that makes you most nervous?
A lot of things, because a lot of things have been transpiring lately and a lot of heated pressure is on, and I just don't want anything drastic to happen.
I mean, it's so obvious that it's so difficult. What are you feeling?
We have 3 daughters. Tim and I have been married for 23 years. We met in high school, 11th grade. We got married my first year in college. And Joycelyn's our oldest daughter. And we had made a commitment that we would do whatever we can to protect our girls. And I think we did a pretty good job. And so for this to happen, it feels like everything that I instilled in her, or the things that I've tried to be careful about, it's just been blown out.
You've met him?
I've met him twice.
What's he like?
He's very charming. He's very charismatic. And you wouldn't think that he had, his intentions was anything less than his music career. And you wouldn't think that he has anything less than the best interest of any proteges that he's considering taking on, which my daughter was considered to be a protege.
He says that he's just being publicly lynched because he's a black man.
It's not about race. It's more that he's been held accountable for his actions, no matter if he was white, black, Caucasian, Mexican, Indian, or whatever. He's been held accountable.
One of the only ways the family can have any communication with their daughter is through R. Kelly's manager, Mr. James Mason.
Hello. James Mason.
They're currently trying to see whether Joycelyn will be able to attend her sister's graduation.
Yeah, I'm recording you. Come on. Now listen, when am I gonna see my daughter?
Hey, Mr. Mason.
My wife is here.
I texted you this morning.
I haven't seen my daughter since 2016. Last time I saw her, Joycelyn was on TMZ with Dominique, the other girl that's in the house. And TMZ didn't say nothing about Dominique. But listen, I need to see my daughter. Let's plan to see my daughter.
I am trying my best to make something happen for your daughter and your daughter's graduation. I'm trying. If she wants to see her sister graduate, let's just say that her daughter may say, hey, come on guys, let's go out to dinner.
Right.
And she just want to be normal. She don't want to talk about R. Kelly.
You're asking, I'm going to tell you the question behind it. I'm going to answer the question.
She just wants to be with her mother, father, and siblings, but don't want to talk about her personal life. I'm just curious, how can you handle that?
If that's what she wants to do, that's fine. But the problem is, I'm a father, I just want to see my daughter. Make it happen, Mr. Mason, you his manager.
A different approach, that's all. I'm not trying to tell you.
I understand.
At the end of the day,
Hang him up.
this is your child, not my child, your child.
Hang him up.
Right? So, at the end of the day, I hope that you really give it some thought.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. You have a great day.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Bye.
That's crazy.
That is actually crazy.
You see that, right?
That is crazy.
You see that for yourself, right?
See you later.
All right, man.
What was clear with meeting the Savages is that they are a massively distressed family. You know, I've sat there whilst they've called R. Kelly's manager, and he literally started negotiating with them. He was saying to them, you know, theoretically, if she comes, will you not talk to her about R. Kelly? Because if she does, and if you do, then she'll leave. And it's just unbelievable. This is a man talking to two parents about a daughter they haven't seen in a year and a half.
The tide may be turning against R. Kelly. Time's Up have come out against the singer, and his songs have been taken off playlists from various streaming sites. But he remains defiant.
It's too late. They should have did this shit 30 years ago. It's too late. The music has been injected into the world. 40 billion motherfuckers loving me. That's right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna take this musical shit and I'm gonna inject these motherfuckers with this musical, beautiful motherfucking shit.
No, don't do that. I can't afford no more kids.
No.
The next day, the Savage family asked me to come with them to an R. Kelly concert in North Carolina. There's a chance Joycelyn is going, but it feels like a real long shot.
Do you actually think Joycelyn's going to be there?
I don't know. Hopefully I'm praying that she's there.
If you actually saw her, what would you do?
I would actually hug her and just find out what's going on with her and then move from there.
The Savages aren't alone. They're in regular contact with parents whose daughters are also with R. Kelly. One of them calls.
Hey, Michelle.
She's tracked down her daughter Dominique, who's been with R. Kelly for 8 years. Dominique is in LA. The surprising news for the Savages is that Joycelyn is with her.
She think they're in LA at a hotel. She called the hotel and she said it sounded like Joyce answered the phone.
This is the mother of Dominique, who's also another girl with R. Kelly. She's gone to check up on her daughter and she's found Joycelyn.
She said she called a hotel that she knows that Rob normally frequents and books them at. So she called and she asked for her daughter by name, and they transferred to the room. But she said it sounds like my daughter picked up.
So essentially, Joycelyn is not going to be at the concert because she's in LA.
No. If she's really there in LA, she won't be at the concert.
No, there's no way. Let's pull over and get some gas.
It seems that Dominique, the woman that's with Joycelyn, wants to leave R. Kelly. This is a massive moment.
Is this the first time someone's seemingly found their daughter and can take them away?
Yes. Yes. And it's something that I haven't been close to ever in this whole journey at all. And it's emotional. I don't know what to expect. I know if that was me and my daughter was there and I was there and there's another lady's daughter there, I would get both of them and bring them home, you know, and get them the counseling that they're needing and take them away from this. But she was saying she's just gonna take her daughter home, and maybe I'm being selfish, but I think I would grab both girls. It's never been about R. Kelly. It's always been about saving these women and then him going to jail or going to get some counseling. But it's always been about saving these girls and bringing these girls out of this situation. I don't know. We may be at a turning point. Hopefully. Only time will tell.
I suppose it kind of shows how much this takes over your life.
Yes. A lot. Tremendous. You know, we've dedicated 100% of our time trying to get our daughter back.
It's a 36-hour drive to Los Angeles, and there are no flights until tomorrow morning. We head back to Atlanta and wait for news.
I don't know.
The other woman, Dominique, has left the hotel to join her mother. Joycelyn is still inside. The Savages have finally been able to send a cousin, who lives in Los Angeles, to the hotel to try and speak to Joycelyn.
So what's happening?
The police is there. They're trying to get my daughter out the room. She wouldn't come out the room. She was on the phone with someone and she was apologizing for letting the other girl go.
How did Dominique make it out?
She ran across the street where her mom was waiting for her. And her mom would never leave that area till she got her daughter.
The police want to do a wellness check on Joycelyn, but they can't get into a room to talk to her.
Yeah, she's not answering the door, so they're going to have to break the door down.
The manager can't open the door with a key?
No, she got the lock. She got the lock on it.
That's crazy. This is horrible.
I have to. She's not even answering.
The lock.
Oh, gosh.
Finally, the police break the door down.
They broke the door down?
Yeah. You know what? The police is talking to her.
She's there.
Yeah.
She coming out?
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I think they force out.
Hold on.
Calm down. Take slow breaths. Be careful what you say at this point.
The police is talking to her, so they're going to try to make her leave.
Make her leave and go where?
Johnson.
I'm having to come. Hopefully she'll come with me.
She needs to go with her in a safe place and go from there. And we'll be on the next flight to LA.
You've nearly got her.
Yeah.
Hey, who's this?
But after half an hour of waiting, the Savage's cousin has sad news.
You know what? The police is talking to her. I don't know. You know, she don't want to come.
They wouldn't let you talk to her. They won't let you even talk to her.
No. She's Joycelyn does not want to leave. She literally is telling them she don't want to have nothing to do with you guys. She's want to be left alone.
That what she told the police?
She wanted to be left alone. They said she was reasonable. She showed no signs of
Gosh, this is horrible. Thank you for going out there. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
How did you feel then?
I just feel like he's won. He's got what he wanted. To turn against a family, to be submissive to whatever he wants.
See ya.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much. So it's now 3:30 in the morning, and that was a emotional night. And all I could think throughout all of it was, even if these girls do love R. Kelly, why are they not talking to their parents? You know, they could get the press off their back, they could just make life so much easier for themselves, but they refuse to do so, or they're stopped from doing so. And that is what makes me think something is seriously wrong. Hey guys, how's it going? Good morning. Nice to see you again.
Hey, Mr. Mason. We had a long night yesterday trying to get the girls. We found out where the girls were.
So this on the phone right now is James Mason, who is R. Kelly's manager. And the interesting thing is that he is literally saying he knows nothing about what happened last night. And he seems to be fishing for information on what the Savage family know.
Hey, Mr. Mason, I have somebody else want to talk to you since you called.
Hey, Mr. Mason, it's Benjamin Zahn from the BBC here. I'm wondering why R. Kelly is scared to address these claims in an interview. Can you tell me why he won't actually do an interview about this? It seems like, you know, these are allegations he should be addressing. They're quite serious. I was with the Savage's family yesterday as they were getting phone calls about their daughter. The police were there. Why is Robert Kelly not willing to actually talk about this publicly? I mean, your name is not Mr. Mason. What are you talking about? You've been addressing the fact that you've been being addressed as Mr. Mason the whole time you've been on this phone call. What are you worried about? Why won't you address this? Is your name? R. Kelly's now in the headlines, but the stories about the singer's alleged treatment of women have been running for over 20 years. One of the first women to speak out against him was Lisa Van Allen.
There she is. Hey Lisa, how's it going? I'm Ben.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Lisa had a 9-year relationship with Kelly in the 1990s.
How does your experience, because I suppose you were there, you know, pretty early on in all of this. How does your experience kind of tally up with what people are saying lately?
He was always controlling. He always wanted total control over everything.
How? What did he do?
If we were having sex, it wouldn't be a natural occurrence. If you have sex with him, he's talking you through every moment of it. He's telling you what sounds to make, what position to lay in, where to touch this, him or her or whatever, you know. He's controlling. Like, he has to have total control over it. If you exercise your own free will or just try to do something on your own, he'll get an attitude.
Was it ever enjoyable? Was it ever a nice relationship?
Yeah, I did have good times with him. So that's part of the reason why I was able to stick around so long, because it wasn't just that, you know what I mean? But I did realize that he had a problem and I couldn't fix it, you know, so.
What was the problem?
That he liked young girls, you know, not even women. He likes young girls. I mean, when I realized, you know, because when I first started dating him, I was 17, so I didn't realize that he really liked young girls. I just thought he liked me.
Are you suggesting he's a pedophile?
Yes, I am. Definitely. I mean, I've had sex with him with a 14-year-old. I didn't even know she was 14 at the time.
Kelly's alleged interest in young girls became the subject of a trial in 2008. He was accused of having sex with a 14-year-old girl, and and charged with child pornography for making a tape of the encounter. He denied the allegations and the girl did not testify. The singer was acquitted.
Is the 14-year-old, is she the girl in the sex tape?
Yes. They'd leave her at the studio and then he'd have sex with her once her parents left.
People have made allegations, no one's actually seen it with their own eyes. Everyone says, I've thought something, but I never actually saw it. You're the first person I've spoken to that actually saw it.
No, yeah, I've seen it. I was involved in it, so when he was having sex with her, you know, he was saying, you giving daddy that 14-year-old pussy? And she asked daddy this 14-year-old pussy. Yeah, they kept saying it on the tape.
Lisa was a star witness, but one problem for the prosecution was that she was revealed to have taken another sex tape from R. Kelly. It was alleged that she had tried to sell it back to the singer.
When they had me on the stand, they didn't really ask me anything about Rob. They were pretty much asking me about me and trying to tear me down, you know what I mean? So to make me not credible. They were trying to say I tried to extort him for money, which I did not do. I mean, if I wanted money from Rob, I would have kept his child. I was pregnant by Rob like 8 years prior to that.
You were pregnant with Rob's child?
Yes, I was in 2000.
Did you want to keep his child?
No.
How come?
I didn't. I loved him, but at that point, I knew that he liked young girls, and I just wasn't, I didn't feel comfortable enough to have a child with him. Yeah, I mean, look at his record. I mean, Aaliyah was a close family, friends, you know, child, his goddaughter. He messed with her. I mean, it's all children that are close to him.
Nobody has really been able to come forward and actually go to the police and try and bring a case about. Mm-hmm. But you actually testified in court.
Yes.
And nothing happened.
Right. Mm-hmm. How
does that feel?
I mean, I was disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I can't say that, I don't even know what I wanted to happen to him, but I definitely wanted him to be held accountable for what he's done. I feel like people just don't want to believe it. They just don't want to believe that he's like that.
R. Kelly's team have called Lisa Van Allen a liar and a thief. But ever since I've been covering this story, the allegations about R. Kelly's liking for young girls have refused to go away. And those who've had encounters with him recently, like Faith Rogers, found his behaviour disturbing.
I'm looking up to him and he's rubbing my face and he's like, how old are you? And I tell him, I'm 19. And he says, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. You want to see my ID? And he's like, no. And he's like, you know, if you're like 16, you can tell daddy, right? And I'm like, why do you think I'm 16? And he's like, you look about 14, 15, or 16.
Do you think he wanted you to be 14 or 15 or 16?
Yes. Because he asked me, you know, after we had already did what we did.
But for R. Kelly, his relationship with Faith could be the thing that brings him down. The reason? Her claim that he knowingly infected her with herpes. As with all her allegations, he categorically denies it.
Nice to meet you. I'm Ben. Right. What is the chance she will be successful in her criminal complaint and R. Kelly will go to jail?
Her criminal complaint is very strong. I don't think Mr. Kelly has seen a case that will have so much pressure. This is not a young lady who's come forward after 5-10 years. She was with him a few months ago.
What do you need now for your case to be successful?
We need only proof that he infected her with an STD. That STD, which is incurable, will cause a serious bodily injury. Our client will need treatment for the rest of her life.
Even if you are successful, he would only go to jail for a year. And the level of accusations that have came out, people feel that is not long enough at all.
There is rumors at this point that the behavior is more sinister and more criminal than we even realize. And I believe that we're beginning to scratch the surface of what he's done.
As lawyers looking at this case, does it shock you that a man as well known as R. Kelly, as in the public eye as R. Kelly, has been able to operate in such a way, if these accusations are true, and to get away with it?
Unfortunately, no, it doesn't shock me. One of the first instances that the industry was fully aware of was with Aaliyah. In that instance, she was 15 years old. He committed the textbook example of statutory rape.
The processes that he uses to break these young women down is the exact same process that is in place in the pimp culture. You find someone who is somewhat vulnerable, typically by age, but sometimes by need or necessity. You go after them emotionally and you say, you know, you can call me daddy, which is exactly what most pimps tell their girls to call them. And you can rely on me and I'll be a friend to you. And before you know it, you're being pimped out. R. Kelly is a pimp and his only client is himself.
We asked R. Kelly about the issues raised in this film, but he refused to comment. 2018 has been the year when many prominent men have been brought down by women who found their voice. The question now is whether the same will happen to R. Kelly.